there I am. It's always such a shock to me when technology does things, and that's a really annoying little flicker. Hey ho, we'll cope with it. So if you were on Instagram a few moments ago, you'll know that I'm just about to talk about absolutely nothing. You might think, what's new? But on a less flippant note, I want to talk about how women, as a rule, tend to think about doing nothing. And it's something we have a problem with. Like, the idea of doing nothing often causes us a real guilt. There's a guilt feeling that kicks in. Well, I can't do nothing. Can't do nothing. Oh, goodness. So we constantly think about something we might need to be doing because we're doing nothing, and we shouldn't be doing nothing. And that causes a whole train of thoughts that aren't terribly helpful. Like, maybe I should be doing some more social media. If you're in business, maybe I should be doing a new training course. Maybe I should read that article that I meant to read. Maybe I should clean the kitchen. Maybe I should organize that cupboard. Maybe I should start that project I've been saying I'll start for ages. Women often feel a tendency to fill a void. Now, why is this a problem in relation to menopause anxiety? Number one, it's all just thoughts in our heads. I'm just going to move this camera to try and see if I can correct that. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to move that. Bear with. Okay, we can look at my picture. That's not Jesus, by the way, and I'm not terribly religious. I just bought that picture a long time ago, and my partner made me cover it up, and that is a piece of wallpaper that I'm meant to be covering it up with because he doesn't like it. I thought, no, when I was free and single and in my 30s and the world was my oyster before I knew anything about menopause or menopause anxiety, I bought that picture, and it's kind of got a special meaning for me because I was single. Anyway, that's a complete side issue. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about the thought that we get of guilt related to doing nothing and why that's a problem. So when we think, I've got nothing to do, and that guilt kicks in, oh, hang on a minute, well, I must have something to do, oh, right, and we come up with a new list. Those thoughts can contribute to overwhelm. Now, if we're not in menopause and life is generally pretty okay, then what's the problem? What's the problem with being like that? That's just the way I am. That's just what I do. That's how things get done around here. And, oh, no, I can't sit still for too long. That would be wrong. And a lot of people dress this up as what you need to think about is self-care and going for a massage, and all of that is good. But why? Because that thought process it feeds on itself, and it starts to create one of those vortexes, downward spirals that I often talk about with clients, where it feeds on itself, but it's not in a nice way. It kind of becomes like a virus, and it breeds the thoughts of other thoughts and guilt about the fact that, I better do something, or what is it, that cupboard, is it that social media thing? And then there's never enough. There's always something else. So then you begin to realize the whole list of things that you perhaps haven't been doing, and now you think perhaps you should be doing. So that whole idea of, I'm moving that camera again, of doing nothing has now become a long, filled up, jumbled space in your head of all the things that you could be doing. So now you're creating a degree of overwhelm, and nothing, let's go back to the word nothing has happened or not happened other than you had a thought, well, I can't be doing nothing. So you invite all of these thoughts into your space, which might be helpful. You're thinking, no, but that means I'll get more done because I can now focus on this new thing. And if chronic stress is at a low level, then yes, you probably can suddenly think, oh, actually, I thought of that thing and I cleared that cupboard, or I started that project, or I did that course and it was great. But without an awareness of what the levels of background chronic stress, it's not necessarily chronic until the levels get too high, but the levels of background stress that you are dealing with on a daily basis, if you don't know what those are, you don't know when you will tip. into a place where overwhelm increases, anxiety becomes a risk, you are less able to concentrate and focus, and that's without menopause. That just will happen if you tip the stress levels into a place where you can no longer cope. And I'm not going to talk about that now, but I'm sure I will do on another call. So that's a problem even before you hit menopause. But if you imagine you think like that anyway, that's just your natural default setting, as it is for many of us. Oh, I can't do nothing. I feel guilty. Guilt, dangerous emotion, causes elevated stress. So then you move into menopause, and suddenly some of the chemicals and hormones that support you to manage those higher levels of stress have gone. So your dopamine levels drop, your serotonin levels drop, and your cortisol levels rise. And cortisol levels rise even more as a result of stress. And the stress can be caused by feeling guilt around doing nothing and filling your head with all the things that you should now be doing instead of doing nothing. So it can trigger anxiety within menopause if you already think that way, and it can deepen how severely you experience that anxiety within menopause. And it's simply about shifting a basic mindset, a thinking, a thought process that maybe you should consider that actually it's okay. It's okay to do nothing. Maybe sometimes it's great. Wow, let me do nothing. Let me do nothing and bask in the nothingness of nothing. And just sit with that. And if you feel really deeply uncomfortable sitting doing nothing, and what starts to happen is the thoughts of all the things you think need to be done crowd on in, and you know you need to be working on this because it will trip you up. If not now, then later. Okay, this was not my planned training for today. It just became my training. So I hope that's helpful. Don't do nothing about doing nothing. Do nothing. I love the idea of nothing. Nothingness has such power in it. Leave a comment below. I'd love to know if you watch the replay, what your thoughts are and how you feel when you do nothing. What happens? Or if you've mastered it, hey, share with us. If you've mastered the art of doing nothing and you sail in and you put your feet up and you know how to ride that wave, then share that with us too. So that's the training. But before I go, I want to let you know that this week I introduced a menopause anxiety cafe on a drop-in session on a Tuesday lunchtime. It's a half hour. I'll just drop in, I'll do maybe a mini training, but it's really meant for you, a real relaxed environment. I'm going to experiment with doing it on Zoom so that you can drop in, or sometimes doing it like this on StreamYard where you just comment. But next week, you really, really do want to drop in. However shy you are, if you think, no, I don't want to be seen on camera, or I don't want anyone to know that I'm here. She might talk to me. It is there. It's going to be relaxed and chilled, and that's why I'm calling it a cafe. Ask questions if you want, or just tune in, and you know me, I might just chat about nothing or something. But the reason next Tuesday in particular, which is the 4th of May, Tuesday the 4th of May, put it in your diary. One of my clients will be joining me and sharing her journey, and that is well worth listening to. So if you're tired of the sound of my voice, but you'd really like to hear from somebody else who's traveled that journey through of menopause and is coming out the other side, then tune in Tuesdays, lunchtime, 12 o'clock, here in this group, Drop-In Cafe, Menopause Anxiety Cafe. Love to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. All right, bye for now. Have a great rest of day.